welcome to Random Movie Roulette. I know you guys can fucking hear us. We are back. Apologies for everyone joining us live. We did have a few technical issues. The edit's going to look great, though, guys. It's going to look so fucking good on YouTube. We are here with a very, very special guest who fucking stuck with us through that bullshit. Diana from 30-20-10. Hello.
Yay!
I am happy to be here. I know the version no one could hear you said, "Oh, thanks for being on our piddly little podcast." And it's like, I'm just an evangelist of movies, man. I will go anywhere and introduce people to movies that are fucking crazy. I hope I can swear on this.
Yes.
And you just gave me the perfect opportunity of just like, hey, you want to come on and talk about a movie? And I'm like,
and we thank you for it, because this is 110% the type of movie that is up our alley, and the type of thing that we search for week after week, and we're like in the hopes of trying to find something like this, and then
that we would never have found on our own.
Yeah, and Diana, in case you're not up to date on the latest in Random Movie Roulette, we've recently had a bit of an issue here, because every 5th episode we do a host picks, in which one of us can choose whatever movie to make the other two watch.
we could break the random cycle, and
we alternate. And so last time it was Mike's turn, and he made us watch B-Movie, and he is a piece of shit.
And it was the best episode we ever did. It
was the meanest thing anyone's ever done to me, and I've sworn revenge. My host pick is up next, and I'm gonna ruin their lives. Because I had
your television host pick.
Well, no, that also ruined our lives.
Yeah,
that was because
an appetizer. Yeah.
Yeah, stick around and after this for the 12-ounce mouse episode of our Patreon TV show podcast, TV Boys.
TV Boys.
That's
right.
Mean. That's just mean.
Yeah, I feel like
the
debt's been paid at this point,
No,
right?
No, you have no idea what's coming to you. Oh my god.
Anyway,
oh my god.
But yeah, so Diana, tell us what you do on your show, what
Please.
the concept of it is, and how it relates to the movie we're talking about today.
All right. Well, on 30-20-10, we talk about all the movies, TV, and music that released this particular week, every single week, 30 years ago, 20 years ago, and 10 years ago. So right now we're looking at 1991, 2001, and 2011. And as we're going through, I noticed movies of 1991, there are some incredibly strange picks out there. And I gave you a bunch to just, throw the roulette wheel, see what happens. And when it hit Riki-Oh, I was like, I should have just said Riki-Oh. I should have just lead with Riki-Oh, because it's amazing.
Yeah,
but
and that was totally an option for you. We were so submissive to
Give
it. Anything you wanted, yeah.
Carte blanche.
Yeah. But the other options are so straight. Meet the Applegates, which is about giant cockroaches in human form that come to destroy the Earth. The Dark Backward, where Judd Nelson has a arm grow out his back for reasons, so he becomes a stand-up comic. Naked Lunch, Cronenberg and Burroughs together at last, and Delicatessen, which is just fucking weird. So, and then Riki-Oh, 1991, something was going on, man.
So this is one I've been wanting to watch for a while too, because like it's definitely been on the list. I remember around the time Each of the Killer got remastered, I think another remaster of Riki-Oh came out like right at the same time, and they were both being promoted. I think they were both playing at Alamo Drafthouse like within like 2 or 3 weeks of each other, and I was really bummed. All right,
So
why don't we just jump into the trailer for Riki-Oh? Bringing Diana back.
That's weird.
special power. Born with the strength of 20 men. He was sent to a correctional facility where the laws of survival take precedence over the laws of man. Only the strongest will come out alive. The story of Riki.
Wow. That is actually a hell of a trailer.
I am disappointed though that they revealed that the warden turns into a giant Goro monster at the end.
Yeah.
It is a big standout, I think, in that whole movie. I didn't expect it to escalate that far, which is so stupid of me because this movie does nothing but escalate from like literally the very second it begins. Have you seen this before, Diana?
Yes. Yeah, I
How
saw
much?
this many years ago. Honestly, my wanting to see it goes back to 1996 because I was a day one viewer of The Daily Show.
I was one.
Well, I'm old. So The Daily Show, when it started with Craig Kilborn, they had the 5 questions, and they had the graphic of the guy getting his head smashed. And it was like, where the hell is that from? And this is like, I don't have internet yet.
Right.
And we couldn't figure out, like, what is this from? And just eventually, over time, like, through word of mouth, found out, oh, it's from this movie called Riki-Oh that's, like, crazy violent. Okay. And then probably about 2001, finally tracked down, I don't know if it was even an official DVD or if it was a bootleg, but finally watched it and was like, oh, that's like the least of the violence? Okay. The head smashing guy is the safer TV part of this movie? Awesome.
So did this send you down like a road of like odd, gory kung fu flicks, or was this like a one and done for you?
This is kind of a one and done. I mean, I know it's weird that it's right in the glory days of Hong Kong cinema, where it's like we're between The Killer and Hard Boiled coming out. It's like, yeah, this style is kind of like reaching its peak of craziness, and I was just like, I anything beyond this, I feel like will be, I don't know, redundant, or I'll just be like, Riki-Oh did it better.
Well, yeah, I mean, like I don't see how anyone could have topped or even came near this. Like, if this is your first kung fu movie, like the fucking bar that has been set, like the craziness that you have to see every single time you watch one of these movies now, it's just not fair.
Because you know when the movie opens and they send Ricky through the metal detector, and then like the metal detector goes off, and they're like, he's got something on him, get him, and then he just like swiftly blocks the 2 batons coming at him, and you're like, oh wow, and you're like,
Yeah.
dude, he didn't even lift a finger yet, and you're like, already it's like, oh wow, what's he gonna do?
Yeah.
Just because like he moved his arm really fast, and then it's like, oh, he's gonna punch someone's head off, or like something.
Yeah,
like,
so I like
Yeah.
the first time he fucking like strikes someone in the movie, it goes through their body, which is I knew kind of to expect that, but it still caught me like super off guard.
Yeah, and then what I love is after that, people still keep coming after him. Like he punched through someone, and then there's another guy who's like, a prison guard shows up and it's like, hey, stop that, I'm gonna get you, and like waves his truncheon at him, and it's like, dude, he punched through a guy. What are you gonna do?
Yeah, no one has proper reactions, I think, in the
No.
whole movie.
and I also think it may have hurt because like we were watching it subbed for the first like 30 minutes. I had watched this once before, like a couple weeks ago, like once when we first got it suggested. I watched it once just to see what it's like, and I was like so pumped. I was like, oh my god, these guys have no idea what they're in for. So I had watched it originally in sub because all the versions that I had found on, I think there's one on Tubi that's free to watch with ads, and I put it on, and it is just the English dub, and I was like, oh, I can't watch the movie like this. And then I found the version that had subtitles and, originally in Japanese, and then when you guys are watching, you put on the English dub just for giggles, just to see what it sounded like,
It's the
and then you
best way
watch
to
the
watch the
whole
movie.
movie like that.
Yeah, it's
and I'm
great.
like,
Did you watch
Yeah.
the dub?
I insist on the dub on this one.
It's
Where it's
fucking
like
incredible.
it just adds to it because all of the dubbed voices, like there's that stereotype of like what kung fu movies sound like, where they take weird pauses and then they have to rush to finish the line. And
Yeah.
this one, like everyone's like the paced out well, but every voice is super gruff, so much more than like you're used to hearing. Like that's not how Bruce Lee used to sound.
Yeah,
It's
it
just
totally
like,
sounds
everyone
like
is very angry.
angsty 80s anime kind of voice acting where
Yeah.
it's so over the top, but like
I also appreciate just the absolute, not appreciate, but the just whitewashing of every
All the
name except
names.
Ricky. It's like
it's so
Bob,
yeah, and
Albert.
we watched it
Brandon.
with the subtitles for like
the English subtitles.
the English subtitles that were translated directly from, I guess, the Chinese copy of the movie while we were watching
or
the dub.
Japanese. Is it?
I thought this movie was Chinese.
It's based
I
on
could
a
be-
manga, I believe, but it is Chinese produced.
Right.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Hong Kong.
Yes.
And yeah, so every time they'll be like, I think like one of the characters' names was Sa, and like they named him like fucking Kevin or some shit. Like it was like all of them had stuff like that. Whereas like like Tim and fucking Eric, like
Albert.
Yeah.
it was so
Alan.
fucking funny. And then the only one that they kept was Tarzan because they nailed it
Yeah.
on the first go around. Tarzan was Tarzan the whole time. So how do you feel about the story here? Because it's a kung fu story. I don't think that's why you watch the movie though, unless anyone cares to disagree.
No, well, I forgot because it's been a little while since I watched it. I forgot that it does take place in the far off apocalyptic future of 2001, where capitalists have privatized everything.
Like,
Can
and it's
you
like,
imagine?
Oh my god. That would be the worst timeline. Like, how could we manage? Like,
Yeah, and it's like, well, they're bringing that up for a reason, and so you expect there to be like a little bit more, I don't know, satire about that, but like that has nothing to do with anything. Like this could just be a corrupt prison right now, or
Yeah.
100 years ago.
privatized
It doesn't
right now.
matter.
I guess I could say that like the satire would be like in a privatized prison. This is the type of shit that would happen. Like it would just run wild like this.
Yeah, like their superpowers are immediately introduced into the world. That's going to be step one as soon as prisons are privatized. And then the wardens are all going to be these like mutant freaks who fucking can transform into giant Shrek guys.
Is still like just beyond me though. Like if Ricky has superpowers, how and why did he get arrested?
Yeah, and he punches through brick walls. He could have punched out of the fucking like this movie should have been over in 5 minutes.
Yeah, the movie ends with him punching the prison walls down.
Yeah,
It's like
you could have done that the whole time. In fact, it should have been easier before because you didn't get the crap kicked out of you for an hour and a half.
Yeah.
he had to build up his energy to
So anyway, now I changed my mind. This is a bad movie and it doesn't make sense. And it shouldn't
No.
exist.
no, but this,
Yeah,
yeah, no,
but
this
it's like, I don't know. I mean, I guess the corruption thing. I mean, it's there because like the assistant warden is super corrupt, and we find out, oh, there's also drug dealing going on, and it's like, is this shocking in Hong Kong in 1991? It's like,
no, this
Yeah.
is the area where I'm
I
like,
saw Shawshank. I'm like, yeah, no, sure, that makes sense.
no, this is the area where I was like, oh, Ricky, come on, stop being a narc. Let them grow their drugs.
Yeah.
Like,
Well, there's a part of me that wonders though now because his girlfriend dies when she's kidnapped by drug dealers.
They did not say it's his girlfriend.
Girlfriend, sister, this person who
Could be either. The warden
he
only
had a
applied.
relationship with.
I think it's very clear
Yeah.
that they have a romantic love.
I didn't see it.
Well, yeah, I mean, he flew a remote controlled helicopter that had a little banner on it that said like she's like a firefly in the night. It's like my brother would never say that to me. I hope.
Yeah, I would never say that to my sister. All right,
I
fine,
mean,
fair
that'd be
enough.
weird. Yeah.
I'll back down off the sister. Jesus.
Yeah.
But
Like that was the entirety of like their happy time relationship was they're like flying remote control.
Flying a
things.
helicopter.
You know that super relatable bonding moment we all have with our significant others, flying remote control helicopters with banners.
Yeah. Now it's drones today.
Yes,
Yeah.
yeah. They really got it right back then in 1991. They're amazing futurists.
I want to know. So your show is based on like when things like the week that things get released.
Right.
Is it? I don't understand. Like, how can we pinpoint like the release to? Because I feel like this had a very staggered release. Like, is there when did this get like officially like released? Because I was looking through on
Or
IMDb
one when you consider that, because
Oh,
you
yeah,
must have
well,
some
that-
sort of
Yeah.
rules.
Oh, anything overseas, especially the stuff from the 80s and 90s, is such a pain to try to figure out because most of the stuff, it got delayed forever coming into the States. You know, and it's like, it'll follow a pattern like, what is it? Rumble in the Bronx came out in like 96 or something. And then all of a sudden, all these Jackie Chan movies from the last like 10 years got released in the US. So you can say, oh, well, that's actually a 1998 movie. It's like, no, that movie's from like 1987. What did they it's so confusing. So yeah, back in the day, you had to wait for foreign movies. And I believe 1991 is when this was released in Hong Kong and Japan. And I think eventually mainland China. And then it came to the US very briefly in like 94. I saw a release date, but that might have been to VHS.
I would have to assume so, right? Like, I can't imagine this got like a big theatrical release. It's pretty obscene. I think that it's a pretty, X-rated film. I mean, there's no like, there's not like nudity,
which of course is the worst thing that
Yeah.
could ever be shown in a
Yeah.
movie.
Ugh.
we can't let people know they have penises. That would be
Just
chaos.
one
Yeah.
butt.
No,
You
yeah.
saw one.
No, you
naked,
can't. Like,
naked
yeah,
butt.
even in the prison shower scene, like they're all wearing boxers in the showers.
Fucking ripoff. God damn it. Dude, okay,
Yeah.
speaking of prison showers, this guy who is playing the main character, one, so hot.
Very hot.
Like, ridiculously fucking hot. Like, oh my god.
we
And,
didn't
like,
even.
annoying.
I wanted to say that during the movie, but I didn't bring it up because I forgot to mention it or whatever reason.
Yeah.
So I'm glad that we all have that.
Yeah.
At least you and I have that consensus.
Absolutely.
That
This
handsome,
is-
handsome, muscly,
Yeah.
beautiful man.
Fan Chu Wong is his name. And he was also in Ip Man, too. In
Oh.
Ip Man 2.
I haven't
Ip Man
seen that, but I
also,
see the DVD.
and
roll.
Ip Man 2. Yeah.
Is that worth checking out, Eat Man?
Yeah.
Yeah? All
Yeah.
right. Should we?
I mean, you have to watch them knowing that, like, oh, this is clearly Chinese nationalist propaganda. Like, 'cause
Oh.
China is super great and Japan is super evil.
I love those.
It's like, it's pretty obvious, but they're also, like, really fun. So,
I mean, it's the same thing as Marvel movies.
Yeah. That's
exactly. The U.S. military is really cool.
Yeah. Oh, I'm sorry.
It's just
Hey, at
ruining
least-
everything I
Sorry.
love.
At least they acknowledge that Nazis can occasionally take over the government.
Yeah.
Oh, I hate when that happens. Damn it.
Must be Tuesday.
Oh, God.
You know what's great in those movies when the Nazis take over the government? They actually find ways to get them out.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Imagine
Mm.
the utopian societies that we cover here. All right.
So
I want to talk specifically about the villain of this movie because Cyclops is a sight to behold, pun intended. He's got one eye. Eat a dick, Cyclops, you suck. All right. He has a hook hand, which is crazy that is not the impetus for his nickname. Like, if you have a hook hand and that's not, like, what people focus on, like, you're like a dark
But when you
motherfucker.
have a fake eye that you take out and you keep
breath
keep
mints
mitts
in?
in them, I think that takes a little bit more of a precedent. That was the most crazy thing to me when he just like pops out his eye and he's like, "You want a mint?" I'm like, "What?" That's what...
I was already repulsed by just like the
bookshelf of porn behind his
Oh no,
desk.
he's fine with that.
yeah, that's cool.
This is the best thing ever. But no, yeah, the blood red steak that he chops into in his opening
Yes.
scene.
that is
Everything about that scene is amazing. The production design of this gigantic empty office is just nothing but red carpet. It's huge, and it's just one desk in the corner
And bookcases
With-
of porn.
with the bookcases of porn and like enough food for 50 people. It's like, this is how you introduce this guy. Oh yeah.
And it's a testament to how fucking crazy this movie is, because they don't bring up the porn either. Like, no one addresses it. It's just
on.
It's just set
Yeah.
dressing. But this is the production design of this movie. You know, I usually don't like prison movies too much, mostly because I also find prisons, you know, they're just dank, industrial, gross settings. But this one's pretty colorful and vivid. And, you know, they definitely go for the kind of comic bookier angle.
Yeah, and
the
sometimes
appearance.
these prisoners seem to have a lot of freedom, but I guess that's none of my business. But like, it seems like they're only heavily guarded when convenient. But you know, that's fine.
Yeah, but it's also like with the production, like a lot of the props and stuff, like they are very clearly made out of cardboard and paper. Like when he rips those bars off, I'm like, those are like, you know, toilet paper rolls. Like
Yeah, or when he like kicks, like does a jump kick through a fucking metal sheet, and you just see it rip open because it's clearly just a piece of paper. It still works, and like it still makes me feel like, oh, he's a powerful guy.
Yeah.
But it is very very.
It's kind of the same reason why we watched the dub first, because it's like if you were watching the dub and trying to take it seriously as a movie, you're like, oh, this ruins it. Like, but it's like anything that adds to like the ridiculous cartooniness of it,
Yeah,
it almost makes it better.
Yeah.
it absolutely makes it better. I think every time I kept thinking like, oh, like this is. Especially like when it hit that clip with the guy's head exploding, I was like, that's the clip I've seen out there, and I was like, and that's probably the peak of it, because that's what I've seen out there. And I was wrong so many times when I thought like, oh, like it hit its apex, like this is the craziest it's going to get. Like, no, no, not even close.
The first instance of like actual like bloody violence is that scene when that one group like they start terrorizing that old guy who's about to like get parole, the one who made the train for his son, and then like Ricky trips one of them, and then he falls face first into the wooden spikes of it, and it just goes through his eyes and is bleeding. And I'm like, and he's like, Jesus, this escalated so fast. And then like and by the end of the movie, that's like almost not even a talking point anymore.
So are you a big fan specifically of like gory movies? Like you mentioned you're coming to this movie eventually, and it seemed motivated by like that crazy headshot scene. Is that something that you find yourself like drawn to a lot?
No, I think I'm a cartoon fan. I think I just like Looney Tunes, man, because that's what so much of this plays like is just it's like he's the Roadrunner and everyone else is the Coyote. It's like, why are you trying? You're going to fail. This guy is invincible. Because we saw his uncle train him by trashing a graveyard, and now he's a Qigong master, and you cannot stop him. Even though he's in jail. I don't know why.
Like during that flashback scene, like his training scene, where he's lobbing gravestones at him, and some of them he's not even like punching fully. It just hits his body and explodes on impact.
Yeah, which is great. And like it gets to the point in that scene too where he is just fucking like double fisting them at him, and he's like not really reacting to it so much as just kind of posing and having things like kind of
break on him.
Yeah. Which is dope and like really really fucking cool. And I think like all of these goofy effects that like are meant to show how powerful he is, like I think they actually do it even now, even though like I think they're very fucking funny. Like in this world I totally understand like he is a goddamn he's a god. He's
One Punch Man.
I mean, literally, he
Yeah.
is One Punch Man. There's the scene, the first fight in the prison yard when his arms cut open, and he just reaches in and like ties his
nerves
ligaments back together. It's insane.
Yeah, that's another thing. I've never seen that in a movie before. I've never heard of such a thing.
Yeah, you know what?
Nope.
Yeah, and it's also because you brought up that this was like brought up in a remaster around that, like along with Ichi the Killer. And I know you just did an episode of Ichi the Killer on the Gory Pictures show.
Oh god, yeah.
Yeah, and that is a movie where I feel like the gore, the blood, and the violence is almost, it's too much to handle. Like it is so.
Well, it's not cartoony. Is the
No,
problem.
exactly, yeah.
It's very graphic and it's very uncomfortable and like and especially it's so concentrated on women and it's so specifically like just terrible towards women that like that gets very very difficult to watch after a while. This is so over the top. The blood does not register even close to looking like blood. The flesh that's being torn open doesn't come close to like looking like flesh. It's just a fun over like Diana, you said Looney Tunes. That is the perfect fucking
I think
Yeah. Well, it's so much of it's so rubbery too. I mean, there's a guy who tries to punch him and like all his fingers break and they look like pipe cleaners have been covered in silly putty and we're just going and it's like I'm just enjoying like some guy had to make that model and he just had to tweak the fingers just so and
But, last
wait
night
for the camera to roll so he could go,
last night, Jack, actually for my birthday, you got me My Bloody Valentine, like the Shout Factory release, which was awesome, and I watched it for the very first time, the uncut version. That was earlier. That was before Ricky, and like the gore in that, like the burnt body that comes out of the fucking the dryer, like that is so like leagues ahead. Like you have to assume like they probably weren't trying to emulate real life the way they're trying to do in like slasher movies. Like they seem to be going for a specific style, and I think kind of crushing it. And I think like they knew the kind of fun that people will be having with it. It's so tongue-in-cheek and it's so self-aware.
Yeah, I think it's that. I think, obviously it's probably also a matter of budget and stuff. I mean, this is the same year that Silence of the Lambs came out. The production in the U.S. is different than a production in Asia, things like that. But I think my favorite Looney Tunes moment has to be trying to strangle Ricky with intestines. Like it's just nothing. I think that's like the most Daffy Duck kind of...
Yeah,
just like the spite in there.
Yeah, exactly. Like I feel like that's a joke of like strangling someone with their own intestines, but this is cutting yourself open and then using your own intestines to attack someone.
As a weapon.
I was so confused for that whole like minute that was taking place. I'm like, okay, he's killing himself. He's just giving. Oh nope. He's pulling out his own. Oh my god. Oh my. Like it was. I couldn't believe what the fuck I was seeing for a while. I was like, this makes no sense. Yeah. This defies all logic. This should not be happening. And then he gets up and he just charges at him as if he didn't just pull things out of his body. And like
and Lewis, you have a whole show dedicated to gory, violent movies, and I would look over at you anytime something would happen, and you would just be giddy. You would just be oh my god, I can't. Like I was worried that I was like, well, I wonder if he sees this and he's just like, I've seen this all before. I know what I've been down this road. But it's like, no, every moment that something crazy happens, it is like, my world is being shattered. I've never seen a movie do this before.
No, yeah, I do. I watch like the worst things like that exist and like things that like have really stuck with me in horrible ways for a gory picture show. And yeah, things in this still like really, really fucking took me by surprise. Gory Picture Show is a show I do with Dr. Brandon Hardy. You should check it out. It is on podcasts.
Yeah, I think that's one of the things that is so much fun about this movie is how none of the characters seem to ever talk to each other and let them know, like, hey, that Ricky guy, he punched through 2 people. Maybe you don't want him in your office, and you threaten him. And they're like, nah, it'll be fine. And it's like, I didn't even think about how much hand violence there is besides the mangled fingers. It's like within a day, Ricky gets both his hands punctured straight through, and he's just like, well, that's annoying.
Well, that's a crisis.
Yeah, like the scene.
Yep, got a hook through my hand. Yep.
Yeah, we brought up the scene in the shower room where they keep hyping up this guy, the Mad Dragon, and then like he's been locked in solitary confinement. He's just this big fat guy, and you see him, you're like, oh, this is gonna be like some intimidating force, and then he like corners Ricky in the showers, and then Ricky just like punches him through the stomach. And then he dies. It's so anticlimactic. And then some guy charges Ricky with a nail, punches him through the palm with it, and he's just like, looking at it, just pulls it out like nothing happened.
And then like the guards like carry Ricky away. Like you can't make this man do anything.
Yeah.
He is above you. Like he's not a thing you can control.
Yeah, well, that's so much like of the fun is the knowing any second now he could just punch the wall and leave.
Yeah.
I
guess also... he's here to like mess up that gang because he cares about gangs and drugs.
Yeah, I think it's also like the arrogance on the warden's parts where it's like, because they have their own tribe of like superhuman people who can like, oh, we can fuck Ricky up. We have Tarzan and the warden and all
like
these other people on our side.
The kung fu versions of General Zod and his demons from Superman 2.
Yeah, why did they get costumes? Like, what the fuck? Why did only some of the prisoners get these dope costumes?
All the prisoners are wearing this like black garb, so it is kind of similar to everything. To,
yeah,
like, those
but then like
characters.
4 of them are like full like NSYNC like fucking.
I think it's because also
boss
like
level super.
yeah, because there's like the 4 wings of the prison, and they're all controlled by a different gang faction, and I'm like, are these gangs like officiated by the warden? Like, does he put them in place to like, you know, keep the prisoners like in their place, or does he like, you know, or do they just form these prison alliances independent of the warden?
I don't know how
he
Chinese
seems like, I feel like the warden's working with them because he gets mad about the drugs getting set on fire.
Yeah,
right.
Which apparently they just have a big glass greenhouse full of opium poppies.
and no one ever
like,
was just like,
oh no, Riki-Oh found our drugs. It was a whole barn over there. God.
Yeah, he had like a whole greenhouse. Like, they're not hiding shit.
multiple greenhouses.
Yeah. And greenhouses are by nature see-through. Like, everyone could see that shit. It was not a secret.
Like, oh no, he found out about our drugs. Yeah.
He's
What
been
else?
outside. Like, he's seen it. Also, okay.
Yeah, I mean, there are like 4 guards in this whole place. So you can just sort of walk around and find stuff.
When the when the warden finally comes, so Cyclops is only the assistant warden.
Yeah.
There's a bigger bad in town. The Palpatine to Cyclops' Vader is just an old guy. But what I thought was happening when he was introduced, because he gets out of the limo, I like looked away when he got out, and then I just saw his dumb little fucking kid who is an adult man.
With like a big lollipop and like
And a little school
pinwheel hat.
uniform and
Mm-hmm.
And I thought that was the warden. And I was like, oh my god. Because you made the joke before, like right before that, Jack. You were like, I bet the warden's like a 5-year-old kid.
like at 12. Yeah.
And I was like, oh my god, you were right. You were right. And no, sadly, he wasn't the warden. But how amazing would that prison be if that kid was the warden? That kid sucked.
Yeah,
that kid does suck,
he
but
does-
I do like the warden as he is that
Yeah.
we do get.
And that kid does some manipulation, like when he walks out on the red carpet and then he trips, and then they just find
Gets
some
that one
random.
in trouble.
They find some random prisoner to blame for not laying out the carpet properly, and then stab his eye out.
Yeah, I mean, the little kid is fun. It would be more fun if the little kid were dressed like the warden is, because his costuming is wonderful. I mean, he comes out, first of all, he's just dressed like Judge Doom from Roger Rabbit.
Yeah.
And
Oh
then
my God,
it starts escalating from there into like sassy pirate. And then there's like another one that's got sort of a frilly shirt, and it's just so weird. I mean, it makes me think of, okay, this is like one of my only video game references I can make, but like the Ace Attorney series, all the lawyers in that are always dressed like foppish dandies, and you're like, what the hell place is this taking place
Wait, is
in?
your video game Ace Attorney?
Yeah, that's like the only kind of game I can play. I like puzzly based games because my hand-eye coordination sucks.
Dude, you should totally try the Harvey Birdman video game. 'Cause
That's what I've heard.
It's an Ace Attorney clone.
Yeah, I know.
Was this like an Adult Swim Flash game, or was this like a console release?
Nah, a fucking console game. And like then they pivoted and they were like the cases were about like Street Fighter characters and like shit like that. Like it's an evolution of like that's fucking dope.
I mean, that's-
haven't played it myself because I'm the worst.
I mean,
I'm a
that's what
hypocrite.
we were doing during this movie, is that like anytime like some big bad comes in where it's like, oh, Baraka has entered the ring, or like,
Yeah.
Oh,
One of the
dude.
guys literally has the scorpion
get over here
thingy.
with the,
yeah,
This
they're-
got me
they're
so
Mortal
stoked.
Kombat.
So stoked for Mortal Kombat. I can't wait. That looks like the dumbest movie.
Mortal
of the year.
Kombat Annihilation. Now that's
too bad you
a gem.
will die.
Will die.
I've never seen this movie. Is this a thing?
The
we
Mortal
have to-
Kombat-
You've never
Annihilation.
seen Mortal Kombat 2?
No, I've just seen the
Oh,
first.
come on. Even I've seen that. It's hilarious.
It's the only one I've seen. I haven't even seen the first one. I've just seen.
If we ever bring back the commentaries, we'll have to add that to the
Yeah.
list.
I mean, I don't know if it'll be a commentary, but I know on Discord we're having something planned for the Snyder Cut. So
Yeah. Again, everyone watching now and in the future, we will be doing a live stream of the Snyder Cut with our patrons. So head on over to patreon.com/rmroulette. throw us a few bones. You get some bonus content, and at any tier, you will be able to join us for the
$1 tier. You'll join our Discord. We send memes. We have some laughs, and we might be hosting the Snyder Cut live stream during that.
Yeah, but anyone on our Patreon will absolutely have access to it. So check that out. Sorry, Diana, that was a ad, and that was boring. But we don't get actual ads.
That's fair.
So we gotta hype ourselves up.
Fair enough. Well, Well, since you're like a private for-profit enterprise, like you care about money coming in and money coming out. But
we have
I was
our own
thinking,
little...
like, if you were a privatized prison, you would care about where the money is going, and you would spend your money on things like trapdoors and crushy ceilings. So it'll slowly come down and crush you.
Why was it just there already? Why do they have this? When else did this need to happen? They had the ability to kill people for everyone before him.
This is like if you had a James Bond villain and their plan was just, I want to open a chain of privatized prisons and just have all my regular traps in there. And it's totally legal.
Cyclops is a better Bond villain than any Bond villain that we've ever seen before.
Except for Jaws. Jaws is dope.
I mean, basically, that's what the Warden turns into Jaws, and Cyclops is...
So, Diana,
Dr. No.
if you had an evil lair, and you're given about $1 billion, and you can put in any, like, over-the-top trap for your James Bond... What are we doing?
Or your Riki.
Or your Riki. I mean, there's no hope if it's Riki. You're not getting out of that
for
one.
Riki Bond.
No, he can have it.
Yeah.
I'll just leave. That's okay.
Absolutely.
I'll just leave the key under the mat.
The dude can survive without food and water underground for 7 days.
Yeah, I love that the warden is like, is he going to keep his word? He's like, if he can survive that, I'll let him go. And it's like, why?
Yeah,
I really am just like, just get a gun and kill him. What are you doing?
Well, to him, that's what he did. He shot a guy in the head and was like, if he can survive that, free to go.
He's there to make an example out of Riki. He makes the other prison, and because all the other prisoners, like, I don't know if they respect Riki or they just, like, out of sheer fear of what he might do to them, like, they side with him.
I think they respect him, but the only time I genuinely was like, oh no, Riki, which even though it's like nothing to him, is just the razor blades in the mouth.
No,
that really.
I would say that is the only the only moment of gore or violence that I was like, I was a little unhealthy. I was a little squeamish about. But like, I mean, as soon as he like pulled the tape off and he just spit the razors back into the other person, I was like, all right, he's clearly not hurt by this. I don't have to be uncomfortable.
That was so cool. That whole cut to like where it looks like he just like fucking sneezes and it just like shoots all over the warden's face. I fucking love that, man. I don't know. There's so much about this that like makes me really like just gets me so excited. Diana, like 2 years ago, I co-wrote a feature with James Dean, who is an awesome member of the Monster Kid podcast.
Not James Dean from
James Dean.
Not those two other James Deans.
Not the CGI animated remake of James Dean that is that happening still? I hope not. But
oh my God, wait, that was a thing at some point.
They're gonna Grand Moff Tarkin James Dean.
Oh.
So not no. The hologram of James Dean did not direct this. James Dean, the awesome independent filmmaker, who is also a member of the Monster Kid podcast community, and has a new podcast called Film Hacks. It's really great, and you guys should go check it out. He hired me to write with him a sequel to a short film we did together, and this was like a kung fu kind of thing, and I got to go down like that rabbit hole at some point. I'm so sad I didn't see this beforehand. Like I want all of this movie and he just sent me the rough cut over the weekend, and it's great and it's awesome. I love it. But man, more Riki-Oh influence will never be a bad thing, because this does it all right. Like this is exactly like. This is the kung fu movie for
this
me.
Is like, all you would ever need to see, kind of.
It's beautiful. It's a symphony.
Yeah, I mean, obviously, like, if you're trying to make, like, you know, a realistic martial arts movie, like, this is not what you go for. No. But you're making a big, schlocky, fun, like, exploitation type of movie. Like, this is exactly the #1 type of thing.
It's like this and Enter the Dragon, and then what do you need?
And they have, I mean, similarities in that it's like, there's like you have to go through a level of fighters to get to the boss kind of thing.
Oh yeah.
Like Mortal Kombat.
It's like Mortal Kombat or Street Fighter or just, you know, any sort of thing.
And I guess that structure.
Yeah, and they have like different styles or different weapons, and you gotta, you know, defeat them. And oh no, I love the dubbing of the way it says his kung fu is unorthodox.
That sounds like a sample in like a rap song. The best rap songs all have kung fu movie samples. Fucking Czarface, all of their shit. Great. Check out Czarface on Spotify.
Okay.
Fun stuff.
Yeah, so we ran a Twitter poll
Yes, we did.
asking everybody, because this is based on a manga series, and I think that there have been like some animated movies of Riki-Oh that were made. Like
There is an animated, yeah.
yeah, so
They made something like an OVA or something.
I haven't really looked into see if there were any more live action treatments of this property, or if there was a sequel to this movie.
It'd be like remaking Citizen Kane. Like, why fucking bother?
We need to make the Mank for Riki-Oh.
The complete like masturbatory fucking like just the long drama about the guy being like, I think you should punch him, like, but like I think you should go through him.
Yeah.
When he fucking punches him.
I would kill to see a narrative feature of them trying to figure out the logistics of like how
Yeah.
Ricky's gonna kill people in the movie.
Well, I guess it is all laid out in the manga, and Diana, you mentioned like that video game like structure. I imagine like that same kind of structure. It is kind of a thing in manga too, where you're fighting through the goons who are all these like crazy, outrageous characters with their own like fucking gimmick. You know, whether it's like a big old knife or like a weird bolo tie that they're throwing at people and using it to manipulate things. And then you get to the big boss, who is this big mutant freak that you have to use all of your power to take down. It is very, like, I haven't read the manga, and I'm going to. Like, I'm absolutely going to, probably tomorrow. But I imagine that, like, it seems to have, like, stayed close to the spirit of that medium, which is really cool to see. I don't know of a lot of Chinese movies, though, based on manga. Does anyone know if that's, like, a more prevalent...
I don't believe so, because I was looking up for Mike's Twitter
City Hunter,
poll.
I think, is another...
City Hunter is
Yeah.
one. That might be an anime, but Mike was asking us, we were trying to feel like what manga anime adaptions had been done in live action, and I was looking through the Wikipedia master list, and it's largely Japan that's just done live action stuff of its own, and then
Right.
The U.S.
US kind of messing it up every once in a while, and...
It's certainly not an easy
That's
thing.
it.
Do you have a favorite live-action anime movie outside of Riki-Oh, Diana?
No, I hate anime.
Oh!
Yeah, I was like, oh, don't ask her that.
Don't ask
you
me that.
weebs.
Don't ask me that.
No,
It's true.
but-
I've tried so many times. I know it is wrong to say something so blanket like I hate anime.
No,
It's
it's
like
not.
saying I hate comedy. I understand it's beyond genre. It's an art style, and a lot of it I just can't. I just don't like it. I just
Yeah.
don't, and I have tried.
That's
Like,
fair.
okay,
Nate,
I've
I feel
watched Akira. I can appreciate how great Akira is. Not for me. It's just not for me.
And I know
Yeah.
every couple years or so, whenever you get a Ghibli movie on 30-20-10, you're always like, this one was a good one. Like,
Yeah, for some reason, Ghibli movies I can take.
Yeah.
There's something there that it's like, I don't know, they're more influenced by Western animation or something, or just like how maybe it's even the budget that's like there's more than 2 frames a second, and it's not just
Right.
like squeaky voice people screaming at each other.
Well, yeah, it's the
Yeah,
tropes.
voice
They
acting
don't-
is a big part of it, and just...
Ooh, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's pretty nice having like Joseph Gordon-Levitt show up to voice an anime. Like My Hero Academia is fine, but like, you know, fucking Bob Odenkirk's not coming to the door to fucking lend his voice to it. Oh man, I want that to be the thing now.
so the Twitter poll that we ran, we asked, what is your favorite live action film
There's a
adapted-
correct answer to this. by the
adapted
way.
from an anime or a manga series, and our choices were Alita Battle Angel,
Nope.
Ichi the Killer,
Nope.
Old Boy, and Speed Racer.
Yep,
So
that's the one.
yeah, so I mean,
Racer.
in a clear landslide,
Speed Racer.
Old Boy ran away with this poll at 70% of the vote. Everything else around 10%, Alita, Ichi, and Speed Racer. We know that there's a lot more that we could have picked from, but we were like,
Yeah.
these are probably like the 4 that we figured that our circle is probably most familiar with. So
I'm fucking furious right now.
you can't be that surprised.
Yeah.
I think Speed Racer is actually the only movie on this list that I've not seen. So
It's actually
Oh,
fun.
boy.
We might need to do a Speed
I
Racer
know
episode.
that this is
That was going to be my pick before I decided to enact revenge on you. It was
Look
going
what
to be a
you
Speed Racer
did,
episode.
Mike.
Oh,
Well, who knows? Maybe we'll naturally get it.
Maybe.
Because I've always said that. I said I haven't seen this movie, but I'm like, if I ever do see it, it will be for if we have to do this on an episode.
And we will at some point. Diane, are you familiar with the Wachowski Speed Racer?
I still have not made it through that movie, man. It's just visually too much for me. Like, I see what you're trying to do. I appreciate it. It's just, I don't think it's for me. I'm getting a headache.
How you have to tap out because of the fucking...
I just have to tap out, man. I don't know what it is.
I
It's
mean,
just-
look, with the sensory overload, like, I hear you. It's a headache-inducing kind of deal.
I also feel like as far as live action anime adaptations go, this one seems to be bringing over the tropes that you seem to hate into live
I'm
action.
definitely trying to do it, but
Yeah, they're replicating more anime. It's like, I feel like saying Old Boy is kind of like saying my favorite comic book movie is Road to Perdition.
Yeah, no, I did feel...
or a history of violence or something where it's
No,
like,
I did feel weird about including Old Boy on this list because I'm like, this is just such in a league of its own. Like, this is barely even an anime or manga movie at this point.
it's almost the same thing like we had talked about, like Lady Snowblood and Female Prisoner Square, and it's like things that are like not Naruto.
Yeah, we got Omarosa in the chat here saying there was only one correct answer. And Omarosa, I want to hear it from you. What is that one answer? Please get back to us. We also have Mark H in the chat.
If anyone says Death Note,
Lewis liked it.
I liked it. I don't think it's that bad.
or Ghost in the Shell,
really
if anyone
don't.
said the Ghost in the Shell live action movie, that's a problem.
Alita's good.
Alita's fine.
Some
I
people- I think Alita got. I won't say
Alita
that.
Army.
Anyways,
God, the Alita Army is almost as bad as the Snyder Cut, bros. Like,
I mean, a future guest on our show is a member of the Alita Army,
well.
Mr. Michael Reyes from Cinema Blend, a friend of mine. He is my favorite Alita Army member. I don't fully agree with them as a political party, but I think they
nor
have
do
some
I.
valid points. Oh,
I
Christ.
won't say it. But
And Omarosa
Anyways.
says Old Boy is the only
okay,
answer,
good.
which
I
is
was,
sure.
I'm
Yeah.
glad that you
But-
said that.
Wrong. It's Speed Racer, but I
Yeah.
get it.
I mean, yeah, I
surprised
almost
he-
just want to watch Speed Racer because I've been on a Susan Sarandon kick, and I want to see her act opposite a monkey
And John Goodman.
and John Goodman.
God, I've been on such a John Goodman run for like at least the last couple, because I've been rewatching season 3 of Community, and his turn as the rival dean, and he coming in like playing Troy and Abed against each other, and then also don't ask why, but I've also been watching a bunch of like stupid live action cartoon movies, not Riki-Oh, but like the Tom and Jerry movie.
Diana,
and-
let me tell you the reason
know.
why real quick, because it's his favorite thing to do is to watch like just the most cursed media from like the mid 2000s.
like cursed CGI animated kids movies that I definitely watched unironically as a kid, and then I watch them again, and I'm like, oh wow. But yeah,
This is a
Rocky-
man who started a Happy Madison podcast.
I got 6 episodes in before I decided, yeah, maybe this isn't for us
It's
anymore.
the man who could recognize over the hedge references in the B movie.
Yeah, which is the thing I did. I mean, I'm not gonna deny it. But yeah, there's
I do a show with him. I did every week for 3 years with him.
John Goodman was in B movie. He was the evil lawyer.
He was.
He was the lawyer who came in with his big fat ass.
He has the biggest, juiciest ass.
But then there's also the great line in the Rocky and Bullwinkle movie where he comes in, he's a cop and he arrests Rocky and Bullwinkle, and they're like, you can't arrest them, they're Rocky and Bullwinkle, and he's like, yeah, and I'm John Goodman.
As if that would be your go-to actor, even if you weren't John Goodman. I mean, John Goodman immediately was like, and I'm Tom Cruise, but like, that doesn't work.
Yeah, he's John Goodman because he is. John Goodman is better than Tom Cruise. I mean, I don't even think that's a controversial statement.
No,
No,
I
it's not.
completely agree. One of them's not a Scientologist.
One of them didn't play James P. Sullivan in Monsters Incorporated and Monsters University.
It's true. He did a public service.
I wouldn't have nothing if I didn't have you.
Speaking of public services, Mark H in the chat brought up the Tarzan soundtrack, which was just a beautiful gift of humanity from Phil Collins to us. Just thought we would give that some
related.
attention.
Tarzan is a character in this movie
Very
who
much
gets
so.
crushed to death by the ceiling.
Yeah. Tarzan gets real fucked over.
Not only does that happen,
He
but
gets it the worst.
Ricky punches him through his throat out of his mouth.
Right.
As you do.
And then
Yeah.
he gets crushed by the ceiling after trying to save Ricky from getting crushed by the ceiling.
I know, Tarzan was a good guy
Yeah.
after all, much like Jaws, Lewis's
Yes.
favorite James Bond character.
So, Diana, who's your favorite goon?
Of all time or in this
In
one?
this-
Oh, in
in
this,
this
movie,
movie.
yes.
Oh, in this one,
I wouldn't dare spring such a big question on you.
that is a big question. Gosh, there were a couple good goons. I'm gonna go with Rogan, the super femi guy, who it really was like, I don't know their pronouns. Like,
Yeah.
is this supposed to be
Okay,
a
I'm
woman?
glad other
or
people
a
were
gay
picking up
dude?
on that.
Or I mean, even in the dub, it sounds like a guy doing a high voice.
Yeah, yeah.
Like-
and it, like,
And like they're really pretty. I was like, I think she's wearing lipstick. But she's just fucking everyone up, and this is a men's prison, so I don't know what this is supposed to be. Like, gender identity wise, are you trying to say something? I don't know, but I'm gonna go with she, and she's cool.
No, I think
Yeah.
I think it is a male character though.
But they're
just with, like,
definitely into Ricky too, because there's some line where it's like, you know, men are the most beautiful before they die or whatever, and I'm just like, someone is horny in this prison.
Yeah,
I mean,
it's
I'm
like,
sure they all are, but someone's definitely got the thirst for Ricky, and it's
Yeah.
appropriate.
I'm sure
she
they all
just
do.
she seems to really enjoy killing him or almost killing him. I mean, she can do like the 5-finger death punch on him, and she's like, she's just staring at him like, "You're dying now." Yeah, I think that's hot.
I was so shocked when they punch each other, and then she's like, "You're gonna die in 5 minutes. Fucking fuck you." Like, and then he doesn't. Obviously,
Yeah,
the movie
fine.
continues.
Well, yeah, he just like punches himself in the chest a couple times, and I guess he's resuscitated. I don't know.
I think
Jesus.
That
I think
makes sense.
my favorite goon is probably either Tarzan or that one bald guy who he gets cornered by the other goons, and he's like, I think it was one of them. I think it was when we first put on the dub, and his name is Andrew. And
Oh, God.
Yeah.
I don't remember how he died though.
I don't remember either. But
Oh,
I
is that
remember
the
him
one
being
he gets
called Andrew.
crucified? And it was like, wait, you did what with him?
Oh,
It
the
was
one
like,
with the back tattoo. I think that,
Right.
I don't know if that's the same
we're
person.
gonna use him as bait, and then it's like, why is he on a giant cross now? That seems
guy-
kind of complicated.
The guy they used to convince, I think his name was Sa in the guy without a tongue, to convince him to try to convince him to go kill Ricky. Like, they ripped off his tattoo and then like stuck it on the wall behind him, and they tried to say like, hey, look what Ricky did. The guy saw Ricky kill his friend. Like, it wasn't like he was there the whole time. He knows he didn't rip the back off of him, and
Yeah. But I mean, that doesn't matter because then they just end up skinning him anyways.
yes,
So
he only had that
Yeah.
flute for like an hour.
yeah.
Poor guy.
Yeah. I would say the only thing that this movie could have used is that, like, I could have used a really, like, satisfying death for the annoying child. Like,
I was waiting for it because I was like, oh, that's why they have a grown ass man playing this child. It's because they're gonna fucking
Throw him right into the meat
Yeah.
grinder or something.
Oh, I wish. Look, I don't have kids. Probably won't. I probably shouldn't ever. I think kids should be able to get more hurt in movies and TV. This sounds really bad. I don't mean that like during filming they should be protected. The young actors, very important, precious angels, all that. But in the reality of the movies, we need to start icing these kids more than we do. Because
They have started doing it at least in horror. I will
not
say.
enough.
Not enough.
No, we need more.
Jacob Tremblay giving a way too good performance in Doctor Sleep wasn't enough.
Nope. Turn it up to 11.
Oh, so you're disappointed that kid didn't get shot with the exploding bullets?
That
Yeah,
would have
I
been a
was.
great.
Or-
Oh, the
I mean,
exploding
they're not even exploding. They're like
It's
Was
like
it,
elephant tranquilizers or something like that.
Yeah, where like they make you expand and fill up with air and then explode.
They're like the bullets they developed.
What is
to
it? Live
kill
and Let
Luke
Die?
Cage.
Yeah, it's the end of Live and Let Die. That's how it's
Yes, yes, because it's the shark bullet. They use it to blow up the bad guy in that one.
Yeah, but when the assistant warden, when Cyclops gets shot and then he like bursts up and explodes, I turned to Lewis and Lewis just looked like,
Yeah. Yeah.
happy.
I was so happy,
And
I was so happy for like an hour and a half watching. This.
no,
This
and I'm
is
so and I'm also glad that like both him and the main warden get like a super memorable,
Yeah.
like, cathartic death.
Yeah, I'd forgotten how bad that meat grinder is. It's like Dead Alive level meat grinding. Like, oh, that is. Yeah, I mean, it's called something buckets of blood, but my God, that must have been so messy.
Yeah,
that
no,
whole set, everything's just doused.
That is kind of the thing that like that type of movie is what this reminded me of, like Dead Alive.
Yeah.
Like I was thinking of also, I think you maybe not as far as bloody, but as far as like absurd action. Like I think you just recently came up on 2010, Drive Angry that you guys talked about, and that also
Yes.
reminded me of you also brought up Shoot 'Em Up, which is another movie that's kind of like this, like
I love
stuff
that
in this
movie.
like this
More
type of
people
action.
Need to
this-
Shoot 'Em Up, man.
Shoot 'em
People
up
know
is-
about Crank, and not enough people know about Not enough people know about Shoot 'Em Up.
I've never seen Shoot 'Em
Wascally
Up.
Wabbit.
No,
Oh.
Shoot 'Em Up is like it's like
It
this,
almost
but an American
is
movie.
literally like a Looney
Is that the
Tunes
Clive
Elmer
Owen
Fudd.
thing?
Yes, it is.
Clive
Okay.
Owen, Monica Bellucci, Paul Giamatti.
I like those people.
How dare you
Yeah.
say Paul Giamatti's name the third? He should be the first name that
Yeah.
comes out of your mouth. That one.
It's really important for us to know this since you're a guest here on our show. We have to ask, how do you feel about Paul Giamatti's turn as the Rhino in the Amazing Spider-Man films?
This is a big running joke with us, so it's not
a
like
joke. It's not a
It's
joke.
entirely serious.
Amazing Spider-Man 2 might be the only one of the like modern superhero movies I haven't seen.
well.
No,
I mean,
that one and Dark Phoenix. Those are like the only ones I haven't
Oh,
seen.
don't watch Dark Phoenix.
And that's-
I
that's why
haven't
I have
watched
it.
Dark
I was-
Phoenix, but I would assume.
nope.
I would assume same level.
Yeah, it's barely a movie. It's not good. I try
I'm
not to
saying
think about
Amazing
it.
Spider-Man 2 is also barely a movie.
I
No, yeah.
hate you. It's so good.
no, it isn't. We
It's
did
amazing.
Well-
Jamie Foxx is blue the whole time.
Well,
So he is in Soul also. That was good.
Yes.
yeah, he's blue in soul, and he didn't like
Lewis
that.
didn't
How do you-
like
I didn't like
Soul.
Soul.
Wow, how the only person in the world who's like, yo, Amazing Spider-Man 2, Jamie Foxx is great, and then like, oh, Soul, whatever. Like, the only person in the world.
I didn't dislike Soul. I just thought Soul was every other Pixar movie, which is fine. That's a great movie that Pixar makes. But it's the moment I understood superhero fatigue, where I was like, this is what you're all seeing. This is the formula you're finding every single time. This is why you're all bored of this shit. It's because it feels the same.
But you had Pixar fatigue, not
I had,
superhero
exactly.
fatigue.
I had Pixar fatigue. I still don't have superhero fatigue.
At least a Pixar movie will give me like some emotional thing to come away from and relate to my own life, whereas like superheroes, it's just like another superhero punched another guy. It's like, okay.
You underestimate how many times I've cried during superhero movies. Do I need to remind you of my Age of Ultron moment?
Oh my god.
Also,
I went to an early
No.
screening of Age of Ultron, and I was sitting alone. I was a lone person, and I sat next to two children because that was the only spot left. There's the scene where there's the camera twirling around, and like all the Avengers are there, like ripping apart like Ultrons, and I just I started crying. I got very emotional. I was like, I can't believe like this is a real thing. And the fucking kids sitting next to me start fucking clowning on me.
You
Like-
loser!
Like 9 and 10-year-olds being like, this fucking kid's crying. Look at this. And I was like, well,
yeah.
Yay.
But
I'm gonna talk about this a lot.
speaking of Marvel, Shang-Chi and the Legend of the Ten Rings is coming out this year, and if it does
Is
not
it?
take any influence from Riki-Oh, I will write strongly worded letters to Kevin Feige.
Strongly
and
worded
anyone
tweets
involved
that will
that will
Yeah.
get them to change the appearance of Sonic the Hedgehog.
We're gonna put our money together, and we're gonna try and finance a remake.
no, keep the at least
I've made a flag.
I would at least like a remastered Blu-ray from Arrow Video or Shout Factory or something like that, because I feel like
This
movie
is a
does
big shout factory, if not no, it's too good for Vinegar Syndrome.
Yeah, I mean, probably.
Yeah.
I love Vinegar Syndrome, but
Yeah, but they make like they have the Suckling, which is yeah, great. And
did you guys get to the Suckling on 30-20-10?
It was 1990, so,
So-
you might have passed.
Oh,
naturally, that was
I
the
think
first
we
one you
missed,
went to.
We passed it then. Oh no. What did we miss?
Oh,
I'm
well,
scared.
The Suckling, which is so important for our history as a podcast.
As a country.
We made it our
It's
100th.
almost like our mascot.
We made it our 100th episode. It's a horror movie where a woman gets an abortion from a back alley abortion clinic / brothel. That's an important
Like a
distinction
Taco
to make.
Bell KFC.
Yep. And then they flush the fetus down the toilet, and he falls in toxic waste like a Ninja Turtle, and then he morphs into a giant monster, and then it becomes John Carpenter's The Thing, and then they're like all holed up in the house as the monster attacks them. And they also
Nice.
and they're like turning on each other. They don't know who to trust, and it's like you're clearly a human. Like the thing with the thing is like, oh, it can morph into anything. But with the Suckling, it's like it's clearly a giant fetus monster. It doesn't
Yeah.
take different
Yeah,
forms.
it doesn't.
So why are y'all like turning on each other?
I mean, it's because they're all assholes. Was like
Yes.
ultimately the thing. Anyway, it's amazing. And
Maybe the monster was man all along.
I mean, it very much was.
literally man, like the gender man
Yeah.
was
Yes.
the villain.
which that tracks with the rest of the movie.
Yeah.
Men are not great in that movie. In most movies, except for this movie, there's pretty much only
This
men.
movie's all men.
Except for one woman.
for one.
And this is what happens when you let
Fridged.
when you have a utopian society of nothing but men. They all solve their problems with
Utopian society.
they solve their problems with their fists like men.
By punching holes through each other.
Yeah.
This is what happens when we stop worrying about women. We just start becoming super strong and
The
learning
pent-up
karate.
sexual aggression turns into the ability to
Yeah.
crush heads with a flick.
God almighty. All right, we are nearing the end of our show. Diana, thank you so much for being here.
I'm happy to be here. I'm so glad to share this experience with you all. to spread the word, the gospel of Riki-Oh.
No,
Yeah.
and especially like for this, especially because I said like this is like exactly our type of schlock wheelhouse of things that we look
Yeah.
for.
Yeah.
And I knew when we invited you onto the show, I was like, oh, Diana, she's like a classic film person, so she's gonna bring us something like
Jack
elegant,
movie.
like
A Jack movie.
Jack likes classic movies, like an old movie, black and white, with a guy with a hat and a cigar, and he's like, "Yeah, where's the guy?" or something like that, or like.
that's like that kind of shit.
Yeah, but then you brought up this, and I was like, oh, this is so not what I expected from Diana, but it is like exactly the type of thing that I'm so glad that we could do on this show.
In our defense, Robert Mitchum could also punch a hole in anyone any day.
Oh man, absolutely he could. No,
Yeah. I mean-
classic Hollywood guys. Yes, I
I'd
could
watch
totally
that
see him
movie.
just punching a hole through someone's torso. I saw this come up. This aired on Turner Classic Movies.
This movie? What?
I saw it, on TCM Underground, which I think was like Friday nights at like 2 a.m. They
Dope.
would run just like cult shit that's weird. The stuff that's not really TCM material, but just like for funsies, like Miami Connection. I think they ran to.
Oh, yes.
Why not? Let's do it. So once I was flipping the channels and it's like, ooh, TCM, what's on there? No way!
Yeah.
I can't imagine this airing on TV. Like,
No, what would you be? What's left of the movie after you cut out all the horrible things you can't show on cable? It's just like, I don't know, the scenes with him and his girlfriend.
I mean, honestly, they just don't show foreign films a lot on television, let
Yeah,
alone...
that's true.
Yeah.
Although I'm sure they showed the dub. I mean, Godzilla movies had a
Yeah,
life
that's
over
true.
here on
And the
TV.
dub is the way to watch this. I'm so glad that Diana is with us on that you just need that awful...
Mike was so not happy with me and Jack when we were like, we got to watch the dub.
I was
The dub is amazing.
like, well, at least I've seen the movie before in its subtitled version, so it's not like I'm seeing this version without like seeing it originally intended. But like, again, I mean, watching it under the conditions we were, it did kind of add an extra level of humor and entertainment to the watching experience. So there's that. But normally I would recommend.
Just adds to the campiness and the silliness
Yes.
Yeah.
to have Goofy dub.
Yeah, even though normally I'm on the side of like just watch things in their original intended language. But yeah, no, this is a movie. This reminds me of like when I first saw House for the first time. I'm like, this is the weirdest, craziest movie I've ever seen, and I need everybody I know to watch this. But yeah, no.
So you've shown it to us, and we're gonna show it to like 8 other people. You're like the little girl from The Ring with the fucking tape, and we're just gonna kill a whole bunch of people with it. So thank you.
Yep.
Yeah.
Thank you so much.
Thank you. And I'm so glad that this lines up. It turns 30 years old in like a couple weeks, months, something like that. So we can have, I don't know, International Riki-Oh Day maybe. We can like put up balloons.
Half the planet will die when we all try to just imitate the punches and
Speaking of dying,
whatever.
So die. So the
Yes.
die.
Yeah.
So for our choices for next week, the 6 movies that we made for the selection. No theme, because like we kept in theme with Diana's choice, so that they would all be from 1991. These are all just back to normal, random, whatever the list gives us. So first up, we've got the Murder on the Orient Express, the original.
From 1974.
Yeah.
Yes.
Not the Kenneth Branagh movie. Number 2, Forbidden World, which Jack is vouched for.
I have only seen moderate clips of it, but I know it's a Roger Corman 80s, 70s classic, baby.
All right, number 3, Phantasm.
I've seen it once. I didn't
alright.
like it, but I'm ready to talk
Same.
Yep. Again, it's in our wheelhouse, schlocky horror something. So, 4 is Gun Crazy, which Jack
Which
goes.
is a Jack movie.
Yeah, I figured Diana probably.
Good call, Jack. Good
Yeah.
call.
All right, number 5, Death Spa, which I think they showed at the Alamo a couple of years ago, maybe during one of the Dismembers.
I remember reading the description of it once, and I was just like, I want to see this very much now.
Right.
I want to see a haunted spa.
And number 6 is Kick-Ass. But
My favorite superhero movie. I think.
Really?
Yeah.
Is it really?
I think pound for pound, it's the best superhero movie. I think it does the most with the genre in general, and I think it's like of the meta superhero movies too. I think that's the one that really gets it.
That really surprised me. It's a good movie.
I didn't expect to hear that. Okay, so
Although Aaron Taylor Johnson, you do love him.
I do.
So, yeah.
I really do.
you're the only one who wanted him back as Quicksilver.
I know. I was bummed out by the Evan Peters thing. I was like, "Fucking give me ATJ, baby boy."
All right, so to run down quickly again. Number 1, Murder on the Orient Express. Number 2, Forbidden World. Number 3, Phantasm. Number 4, Gun Crazy. Number 5, Death Spa. Number 6, Kick-Ass. And the movie is 3, which is Phantasm. The one I'm sure you didn't want that,
well,
but
all right.
that's the show.
We're fucking
Watching
doing it.
Phantasm, baby.
The one that, like, when you announced it, we all fucking groaned.
And that's the way it goes.
That's how this show goes.
All right, so I guess next week,
Yeah.
in 2 weeks rather, we're gonna be talking
Phantasm, and then
Phantasm. Fuck.
stick around for in the next 20 minutes or so. We'll be back for our Patreon stream of our 12-ounce mouse episode for TV Boys.
Yeah, keep an eye on your Patreon news feeds. We'll be updating that probably like 20 minutes after we end this broadcast. If anyone is currently watching, I can't tell from here. For some reason, I didn't figure that out. But Diana, what do you have to plug? Plug it up. Plug it.
I guess I'll plug my podcast, 302010. We can find me on Twitter at LicinNerd, LECINENERD, or follow the show at 302010 Podcast 302010 Podcast. We come out every single week talking about movies and TV, a little bit of music, a little bit of video games, 1991, 2001, 2011, and I'm trying to think, what do we have good coming up? We have a bunch of good stuff coming up. 1991, we have a great John Goodman movie.
Oh, Barton Fink, probably, right? Yeah.
Yep. He will show you the life of the mind. And see what I'm trying to think for 2001 and 2011. I don't know. We just passed, I think, my favorite movie of 2011, Rango. So
Wow,
everything
really?
else,
That's
That's my
garbage.
favorite. It is great.
I think it is. I love it so much.
Yeah,
Every time I
Gore
watch it, it gets
Verbinski.
better.
It is. I do like Gore Verbinski. I will ask one question, and kind of along this line though. I remember distinctly one time I went to like FYE or something and bought like a DVD or Blu-ray of Chinatown. And the salesman, Rango had just come out on physical media, and the salesman tried to tell me, you know what's a lot like Chinatown? Rango. So,
Yes.
is it like Chinatown?
It is.
No, it is.
Yes.
Like, they're privatizing water, and, like, there's, like, whole, like, dusty water town. Like, it's... You never seen Rango?
It's
I
about
haven't
water,
seen
just
Rango.
like
Okay.
Chinatown.
That is
Yeah.
funny.
No, the evil plan is the same one, and it's so it knows what it's doing, that the bad guy is this tortoise, but he's wearing this white suit. And there is one point where Rango is like, why are you doing this? Why are you killing this town? And he actually says, the future, Mr. Rango, the future.
And the villain's Ned Beatty.
No.
Please tell me there's a sister, my daughter, a sister, my daughter.
No, thank goodness, no.
No.
Oh man, there's no incest subplot.
No.
No, but oh my god,
That is so funny. For the
I, had to
last 10
stop
years,
the
I
movie.
literally thought that guy was trying to huck me Rango, and
No, I literally had to stop the movie and just like collect myself of like, they just admitted they are Chinatown for kids.
Because kids will get that.
Well, I mean, even if they don't, like, it's just like still like an awesome movie
Oh, yeah.
for kids.
kids will now watch Chinatown and say, "This is Rango for adults."
Chinatown is one of those movies where it was like suggested to me so much that I was like, I'm never gonna watch it because I'm a bad person. And then when I finally had to watch it for school, I was like, oh, I'm an idiot. This is fucking awesome. This is an awesome movie.
But you know what's great?
It happens too often.
A movie that's probably just as violent as this is Rango. Like
Really?
for a kids movie, like they have animals who have like no eyes and like their eyes ripped out, and the characters explode and stuff. Like it's so they get shot with like real guns. Like I'm
Dude,
so
you want to talk about dark shit? Fucking Secret Life of Pets. I've never watched an animated movie so preoccupied with the concept of death as Secret Life of Pets. Oh my god. There's so much death in this children's movie.
But
Can't
anyways,
let it hide.
Diana, I'm sorry for dragging us away from you plugging 203010.
What about socials?
Yeah.
Where can we find you on the social medias?
Yeah, just at Twitter, Listen a Nerd, which some people think I'm saying Listen a Nerd. That's mine too. LECINENERD. Listen a Nerd.
Ah.
Yep.
And
And like I said, 2010. Find us on all the various podcasts and stuff. There's plenty to go back to and listen to if you want, because we've been at this for 5+ years now. You don't have to start at the beginning. Please don't do.
I didn't, and I'm loving it. I just did the episode from December. Was my first episode, and it was fucking fantastic, and I wasn't lost. There's a theme song that explains it, which helps a lot.
Yeah.
Thank you for that. I want one of those for us. That's just like a bunch of like warnings. Like it's not gonna make a lot of sense. Like they're gonna go live like 3 times before they actually like do it for real. You're gonna see all of like their technical fuck ups like constantly, and also like audio. Who knows? Maybe it will be there. Maybe it won't be. So we'll get all that in our next theme song. Guys, where can
I'm Jack on 35mm and Jack Patterson on Letterboxd.
I'm RMR Cyborg Mike on Twitter and Instagram and on Letterboxd, and I have just submitted my written review for the Tom and Jerry movie for BeforeTheCyborgs.com. If watching all these garbage live-action children's movie has led me anywhere, it's to writing 800 words about Tom and Jerry. So
this is what school, what SUNY Purchase prepared us for.
yeah, my degree is paying off.
Yeah, we're killing it. You can find me on Twitter at Louis J. Otero. You can find me on Instagram at RMRouletteLouis. And on Letterboxd, which I use now, I don't know how to find me, but I probably just like look up my name and I'm there. You can find us all on Twitter at RMRoulette. You can find us on Patreon at patreon.com/RMRoulette. Throw us a few shekels. Helps the show out a lot. It's a surprisingly expensive show to run, especially because now we have to replace our fucking soundboard. But
I'm also on Letterboxd too, and I should mention also as Listen a Nerd, LECINENERD, and every single movie that we've recommended for any particular year, and every week I have a classic corner. Those have their own lists on Letterboxd, so you can see all of the hundreds of things we've recommended. In case you're like, I want to watch a movie. What's fun? And then you just start scrolling through. It's like, do I want to watch Drive Angry, or do I want to watch I don't know, Judo by what's his name?
No,
we should use those as the list
Jangy
for a few
Sorry.
episodes.
I sometimes go through like I will plan my movie watching around like what's having a 30-2010 anniversary or something or something that like or something I'm planning to watch, and I'm like I'll save it for a couple months from now. They'll probably get to it in 30-2010 and I'll watch it then. But
yeah, well, sometimes I mean, just going back to reappraise things like Silence of the Lambs, man. However good you thought that movie was, it is better than you remember. It is so worth going back to watch. That has been so fun of like, I mean, I like it. It's pretty good. And then watching like, this is a masterpiece. Every frame is perfect.
Oh my god, the movie you guys were talking about the Marquis de Sade, that sounded
Quills. Oh,
that sounded
yes.
so fucking good. I cannot wait to check that shit out.
Quills with Jeffrey Rush and Kate Winslet it's a trip, but
I want to see Jeffrey Rush's dick, and I think it's weird that I haven't yet.
We got 5 Pirates of the Caribbean movies, no Jeffrey Rush
Not
dick.
one Jeffrey Rush dick.
Not fair.
You would think that scene at the end of the second movie where
He
comes
just
down
comes
the
out
stairs,
naked,
you see his dick
sexy,
first
just
as it
eating an
comes down
apple,
the
like.
Yeah.
So no shortage of great movie recommendations on the 30-2010 letterbox. Thank you so much, Diana, for joining us. Seriously, this was such a fucking blast.
Absolutely.
I hope at some point you'd be willing to come back and do it with us again, because we seriously loved having you.
Oh, thank you. No, I had a lot of fun. Yay.
Great. We will be back in 2 weeks with our episode on
Phantasm.
Motherfucker.
Not Batman Mask of the... Just Phantasm.
Thank you, everyone. It's jujitsu. Thank you, everyone. Sorry.
All right, I think we need to end the show
fitting
now.
line from Mask of the Phantasm wrapping this up.
Thank you, everyone, for joining us live on twitch.tv/RMRoulette. We really, really appreciate it. Stick around, patrons. In 20 minutes after this ends again, we'll be going live with our 12-ounce mass episode of TV Boys. Goodbye.